Vikings Packers, it means less than ever. Welcome to Crossover Thursday.
You are Locked On NFL Crossover, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
It's Crossover Thursday, and it is presented to you by PrizePicks. Download the PrizePicks app today and use code LOCKEDONNFL to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. What's up, Vikings fans? What's up, Packers fans? It is Crossover Thursday. Last one for the Vikings, not the last one for the Packers. I am Luke Braun. I do Locked On Vikings. I'm here with Peter Bukowski. He does Locked On Packers. You know him. You love to hate him.
You're
What's
right.
up, Peter?
Oh, you're right.
Welcome to this. Is going to be such a weird crossover because this game doesn't matter for anybody.
We were just saying before we came on, like it's hard to remember a game that meant less for these two teams. Like I can certainly remember them, but like there's probably a recent one we're forgetting, of course. But like this is not how these games are supposed to be. This sucks.
Yeah, this should be like we should be like spitefully all trying to like prove our bona fides in this game, you know, like this should be 12-4 teams fighting for the chance for the division title.
Instead it's Max Rosmer and maybe Clayton Tune.
Okay, let's start with that because for the Vikings, Kevin O'Connell said JJ McCarthy's hand is like progressing, swelling's going down, maybe there's a chance, and they really want him to play. They would love to get him in there, get him the reps, get him the experience, and it's a matter of literally can he physically grip the ball. If he can, he's going out there and they're gonna like shoot him up with whatever they got to shoot him up with. So that's where we're at,
buddy.
Yeah, you know what? Your kidneys can scream. It's fine. But I don't think anybody wants to see more Max Brosmer. I think we're all good on that. But they might not have a choice. So that's where the Vikings are at. Is we're a true questionable. Watch the injury report. Watch the progress. We're keeping an eye on things. But are the Packers going to play Jordan Love? He's been out for 2 games. Is he going to sit another one, and are they going to be worried about rust?
I would be shocked if they played him at all. Like maybe a series just to sort of like knock off the rust, and it's 2
like
handoffs and a play action shock. I just don't see it. I really don't. And like I think the Bears game last year wasn't so instructive for them. Jordan Love gets knocked out of the Bears game. I think that gets lost to time. And then Christian Watson tore his ACL in that game, and like that ruined their chances of going to beat the Eagles the next week. I mean, Christian Watson fundamentally changes this offense. We've seen it this year. Like when Watson's been out there this year, pick a number that you like, yards per route run, you know, any of the other like more qualitative metrics, the Pro Football Focus, like your mileage may vary on that kind of stuff. I think yards per route run is a great stat at volume. He's just been awesome since he came back. So I just like, I don't see them playing Jordan Love. And I think he's veteran enough. Like if this were Josh Allen, would we really be talking about he needs to go out there and knock off the rust? I just don't think we would.
Like it happens. So like when you're at like a month, it's different, you know, but like,
I guess this happened last year to Jalen Hurts. Remember he got the concussion, was knocked out of that Commanders game, and then sat the final week. And people said like, look, he was rusty against the Packers. That's why the defense played so well. That's not why the defense played so well against the Eagles. It's proven like Jalen Hurts, if you make him play from the pocket or make him roll to his right, like you're gonna be able to successfully defend that offense. I don't see Matt LaFleur going that route. I just don't. I think the bigger question is Malik Willis, who's hurt, had to leave the game against the Ravens, probably because that shot wore off in his shoulder, his throwing shoulder. He's got actually like stuff on the line. I think the Packers would like to let him audition for other teams. I think they'd like to give him a showcase game. I don't think they'd call a lot of runs for him, but I think like let him prove he can play from the pocket. He was again, your mileage may vary on Pro Football Focus grades, the #1 graded, I think, player full stop last week by Pro Football Focus. Like he was spectacular against the Ravens until he got hurt. And then of course, you know, can't play once you're hurt. So I think they would like to see him do that. Plus, I think they would like to see Matthew Golden in a functional NFL offense. I think they'd like to see Savion Williams in a functional NFL offense. I'd like to think they'd like to see some of these guys. I've been saying Jordan Morgan, maybe he gets to play some left tackle and see what that looks like against a real NFL defense. There's stuff to learn here for the Packers still. And I think like Malik Willis for a half, Clayton Tune for a half, kind of treat it like a preseason game, like you said at the beginning. Like this is a preseason. You might have said that off air, but like this is kind of
this has preseason vibes. Yeah,
it's a preseason game at technically regular season speed. Like that's what it is. And so I think you'll see the Packers treat it like that.
Well, yeah. So we haven't seen Matthew Golden in that real functional Malik Willis version of the Packers offense, only the substandard Jordan Love
Right,
version.
exactly. If you listen to Bears fans, that's certainly something that you would hear. I just mean the difference between Willis and Tune. Like, I don't expect.
I just love that you kind of accidentally implied that.
No, I get it. I'm with you. But like the Clayton Tune version, I don't expect to be like anything more than just like, here's two handoffs to Emmanuel Wilson. Here's a screen. Here's a draw. Here's a, maybe a play action rollout, one shot play here or there. I don't expect to see like here's the thing, Luke, is the difference between a preseason game and this is you don't have 100 guys on the roster. So
exactly,
you're going to see real players for both of these teams are going to have to play. It's going to be a really weird thing. And if McCarthy plays, it's going to be most of the Vikings. And so that makes it a really interesting litmus test.
Well, no, it won't. Darrisaw's on IR. Ryan Kelly's on IR. Brian O'Neill, there's no reason to put him in. So you're going to have 3 of 5 backups probably.
You want to put McCarthy in there without O'Neill, though, even if he's like less than 100%?
Definitely. Yes. I think that they are going to want to do that. I mean, and so here's the funny thing, and tell me what you think about this. So the 2 best McCarthy games have come against the Commanders and Cowboys, 2 really bad defenses.
Yeah.
If you take, I did this, I was curious, so I did this during the Packers-Ravens game. So I don't know how
better use of your time than watching the game.
Yeah, right. But Packers by EPA per play, with and without Micah Parsons, like an on-off split.
I don't want to hear this.
Without Micah Parsons, they rival the Commanders and Cowboys. Like it's been like that. So I wonder, I mean, even with, some backup, I mean, they've won a game with 4 of 5 backups out there. They had Joe Huber taking snaps. Like which Wisconsin legend. Like they've done this a lot. So they'll put McCarthy out there. They won't protect him from, oh no, Blake Brandel has to play right tackle. To be honest, he's not even really the biggest problem. It's left tackle anyways, which I don't know why they just like refuse to put Blake Brandel out there when they have the option to, but they would absolutely do that. It's just that guys are like super hurt. So I wonder if this is going to be something that's like a little bit less serious in the second half than it is the first half.
Yeah.
Because that's what the Vikings did a few years ago when they had the division locked up and it was week 18 and they were in Chicago. Everybody played the first half and then it was all backups the second half. I wonder if that's kind of what we see from Green Bay.
Yeah. And I guess I wouldn't be that surprised by that, but I think especially with Love coming off a concussion, you'd rather just rest him and not risk it, just because we know what the tack on effects are and the additional risks are. If he, let's say, got another one,
like Ryan Kelly, he's had 3 this year.
Now you have a big problem. And so I think you, like, if it were a different injury, like if he came out with an ankle and like, okay, like he's feeling better, like maybe you put him out there. I think the fact that this is a concussion and that he didn't clear protocol last week, he got a full week. Now I saw, and I have not verified this, but I saw that the average time to return for a starting quarterback with a concussion this year has been 9 days. So basically every quarterback who has got a concussion in a game and like a verified concussion has missed the next game. And like it lingered for CJ Stroud. He was out multiple weeks. And you cannot have that happen. Now, Jordan Love apparently was very close. He practiced last week. And so it seems like, he was out there practicing. I don't think they practiced Monday, but they practiced Tuesday. I think they maybe had a walkthrough Monday. So he was out there right away, which I took as a good sign. I mean, Ian Rappaport was on NFL Network on Friday going, there's a good chance Jordan Love plays. And he must have just like not quite passed the tests, which, to me, Luke, like this is a separate thing, but like, to me, that tells me the system is working better than maybe us cynical sports media folks originally thought, because that means that they're actually listening to the independent neurologists. They're actually following these protocols. I'm not sure that was happening all the time early on, but I think players more than ever are advocating for each other and advocating for themselves. Like,
refrain from comment.
I'm not going out there if I don't have to, because this is like these brain injuries. Now, Tua, there's some people who have continue to put themselves at risk. And thank God for Tua, he hasn't had any more scary hits this year. But I just think for like, it's a brain injury. We have to remember that. And I don't think the risk is worth it. Like whatever rust you're going to knock off in the first quarter. And if it's the Bears, they played the Bears twice. Like they know
and they just did one. Yeah. Like
right, they just did this. And if it's the Eagles, they didn't just play the Eagles, but they played the Eagles in the middle of the season. So it's not like if you had to go and play the Rams or the Seahawks or some sort of weird, funky defense, and it wasn't something you were so super comfortable with, maybe you'd want him to knock off a little rust. I can't imagine he's going to go out there and not feel comfortable right away. Even with the extra time off. I think with veteran quarterbacks, it's a little different. He's still a young quarterback in quotes. Though Vikings fans and Bears fans,
well, he's in like year 7. He's like, he's not. You're not treating him like he's Jackson Dart.
Yeah. No, and it's Jackson Dart. You got to protect from himself. I don't think you have to do that with Love.
Chuck or what? Like, you're not treating him like he's, or like the Bears would treat like Caleb Williams, where
right.
Experience
you're not going to do that. So I think it's going to be okay. Now, does that mean there's going to be a lot of I think the second half of this game could get ugly. I really do.
I do too. Like this could get really weird.
And I don't mean from a score standpoint necessarily. I mean from I'm sorry, who's out there? What?
Yeah, right. And it's just everybody just flip over to the Falcons Saints game that could get the Bucks eliminated like that.
Right.
Like just at this point, it's red zone time. But okay, well, there is still, I think, something at stake for both of these teams, just in how this goes. And that's what I want to ask you about next, is what you really want to see out of this game if we don't really care that much about the scoreboard, because it doesn't change much for everybody. That will be next here on the Crossover Thursday. Today's episode is brought to you by Robinhood. Nobody knows your money goals better than you. Robinhood puts you in control of your money. With tools that work as hard as you do, you can lock in on every opening, beat your PR, beat it again, and channel that drive into your money. Robinhood puts you in control of your money. Trade stocks and ETFs, options, futures, and crypto all on one platform. You can now build and execute your own trades from a desktop with Robinhood Legends advanced tools, or take advantage of the new Robinhood strategies with a tailored portfolio managed by a team of experts. You expect more from yourself, expect more from your money. Get started today at robinhood.com/yourmoney. Again, that's robinhood.com/yourmoney. Your money, your move. Moving on here with Crossover Thursday on the Locked On Podcast Network. I am here with Peter Bukowski. So what do the Packers want to see out of this game? They can't change their seeding. If anybody wasn't already familiar with that, they're locked into the 7 seed. They're playing whoever ends up second, which will either be the Bears or the Eagles. So what do you, well, I also kind of want to know who you want to play, but first, what out of this game would be like the ideal outcome for the Packers outside of, we can beat the Vikings?
The thing that I did a little preview video, and my number one key is like a little keys to victory video. And my key was care. I just want to see them care about whoever's out there. Care, play hard, because they did not play hard against the Ravens. And to the point that Kingsley Enagbare after the game got up in front of the team and was like, I did not see a team that left it all on the field.
Do you think it's a Parsons thing? Is there like a win taken out kind of deal?
No, because they played their asses off against the Bears. Like, they held the Bears to 0 first half points in Chicago.
You don't have that power of hate, though.
Well, but so in the playoffs, if they play the Bears, you know what I mean?
So you want to see, I know you want to see the Bears because you want it. You want that smoke. Yeah.
I want the smoke. And I think the Packers will win that game. I was actually talking to Louis DiBiase, our Locked On Eagles colleague, and he was like, he told me unprompted, I will take the Packers against the Bears on the money line in that game. I
probably will too. I want to see. Doesn't it just feel ordained?
It kind of does. And it would be fitting in a lot of different ways. But so I want to see the guys that need to care, but I also want to see some of the backups that are going to get more opportunities. Go out there and play your butt off. Go out there and play really, really hard, because that's going to be the question. That's really the only question that you can answer, I think, for some of these guys that are going to be, because again, I mentioned this at the top, you can only rest so many guys. So I don't expect to see Xavier McKinney. I don't expect to see, Edgerrin Cooper,
Christian Watson.
There's a lot of young players on this defense, and the defense in particular, like Carrington Valentine had a nightmare game last week. He just does not want to tackle. And he's not a good enough playmaker with the ball to make up for that. Like, if you're D'Angelo Hall and you don't tackle, and you're Trayvon Diggs, who, coincidentally just got waived, and Packer fans are like, I would like to see that guy. But anyone with a name getting waived, Packer fans are like, we want that guy. And that's not unique to Packer fans. That's a lot of.
Yep, I deal with that too. Yep.
Are like, hey, why don't we get that guy? It's like, no, that guy was toast 2 years ago. But
weird.
I think that it's an effort piece for me. Now, there are some players though too, Luke, that I want to see. I want to see Jordan Morgan at tackle, whether it's left tackle or right tackle. He was very good against the Ravens last week. I thought he had a little bit of a herky-jerky start against the Bears, but settled in as well. So, there are some guys. Anthony Belton is playing right guard for the first time in his NFL life, or no, I think in his football career. He was a tackle in college, but he's an enormous human being and moves bodies in the run game. He's still figuring out the passing game piece of this. And so there still are some guys that I want to see play at a high level, or at least give good effort as they try and figure out, okay, who are some, this is a preseason game. So who are your building blocks? That's the cool thing about a preseason game. Like Matthew Golden, let's see something.
Right. And you can like try to calcify, like if the line is shuffled, get them a little bit of that experience. Experience is the whole thing. Like for me, I really want to see JJ McCarthy play, both because I just don't want to watch Max Brosmer anymore, but also like I really want to see him get one more under his belt and try to end the season on a better note than that Giants game where he was very up and down and then he gets hurt again. And like, I really don't want that to be how the season ends. So if he plays, obviously the whole thing is, how does JJ McCarthy look? Do we feel satisfied with it? And then we have that conversation. But even if he doesn't, there is something very much to, can the Vikings claw their way to a winning record? Like I feel like it would matter to me.
Yeah.
It would definitely matter to me. I feel like it would matter to them, where with all the things that have gone wrong this season has been a total car crash. They've had so many no-shows. They've been blown out multiple times on prime time. Like this has been a season, they've been a laughing stock. And to show up and say, hey, while you looked away because we got eliminated, we went out and actually got a winning record. And like to Mike Tomlin this, I feel like there would be something to that. And what we've seen in the culture of the Vikings is no quit. They have played their butts off against, going into Dallas and trying to win on Sunday Night Football, winning on Christmas against the Lions just out of spite. Like that, they played hard in those games for nothing other than like Harrison Smith's honor. And I think there's something so like important to that. So to get rewarded for that effort with a winning season, I think would send a very good message to whatever Vikings do stick around for next year, that I do want to win this. Like I want it. I do. And
KOC
I don't care about the draft position at all.
He's not in culture setting mode right now, right? But like I go back to 2021, the Lions had nothing to play for last week of the season against the Packers. The Packers played Aaron Rodgers for the first half of that game and Jordan Love for the second half. Dan Campbell called like every trick play he could think of. And just because it was like, we're going to try. We're going to try. We're going to play hard. And it worked. And they won that game. Now it came down to like, final drives. It was a back and forth game. It was actually a really fun game in the second half. And Jordan Love showed some nice flashes. He showed some, the inconsistencies of a young player. But to me, that was the beginning of the calcification, we can say now in retrospect, of a team that was able to build something moving forward. This is not that, but for the Vikings, but especially for JJ McCarthy, like you want to get a little positive momentum, right? Like you want to make him go into the offseason feeling good. Whereas, like if his season had ended when Max Brosmer came in, for the Seahawks game, if his season had ended there, that's an ugly place for this Vikings team to
then
be.
you would be scrambling for Kyler Murray's and Tua Tagovailoa's, and I don't think that they're there now. Like, okay, I just looking.
You think that much has changed? I was going to ask you about this. You think that much has changed in the last couple of weeks?
Yeah, I do, because you got some kind of proof of concept, and I know, like, at the end of the day, Kevin O'Connell still is in charge of this, and the ownership has very much still given him. They say, you do your thing at quarterback, and O'Connell very clearly wants to do this. I think they're going to bring in somebody a little more serious than
he's earned the trust for the ownership, for the front office to say, hey, if you want to keep doing this, let's see it again.
And this season has very much eaten into that, I think, because he's made some mistakes at quarterback, and how they've handled that position, both from a personnel standpoint, but also just how they've taught things has been messed up. You Packers fans, you can listen to my show for more on that. I'm sure you'll love it. But
was the Packers game the nadir for JJ?
The what?
Like, was that the low point?
Yeah. That was the worst game of the season for JJ for sure. And then the next week, Max Brosmer was like, you ain't seen nothing. And then did like one of the worst things we've ever seen.
Listen, that was why when like Packer fans clamoring for Trayvon Diggs, like it can't get worse. I was like, ask Vikings fans about their quarterback situation. It can always get worse.
Always find a way. Yeah, so like that game had me playing games like, was this worse than Josh Freeman when he played a game for the Vikings in 2013? The answer was yes.
There were Vikings fans that were like, I would rather see Joe Webb play quarterback than JJ McCarthy play quarterback at that point.
Yeah, I mean, Joe Webb was on. I would rather see Joe Webb than a lot of guys. I love Joe Webb.
He was kind of Malik Willis before Malik Willis.
So I was looking at this, and if you want to like uber cherry pick it and just look at the 3 weeks of that NFC East thing where it finally looked like JJ McCarthy was putting stuff together. Yeah. Well, that 3 weeks, the Vikings were a top 5 offense over that 3 weeks. It was against bad defenses, and I'm not adjusting for that. Like, there's a lot of caveats, right? It's just a small
Packers
sample.
Might have a bad defense right now, so
yeah. I mean, well, the Packers might have a bad defense, yeah. But like, you're at least seeing, oh, this can work. And I wonder if being eliminated has helped them kind of loosen up a little bit and not put so much pressure on themselves. And now they're just going out and hooping and it's working better, which then you go into the offseason and say, oh, okay, this is the kind of team that just needs to relax a little more. Yeah. And we don't need to. And now you can have that attitude going into the season and try to kind of tap into that energy. So I think that they've found something over this win streak, no matter what happens in this game, that can carry into 2026 and be useful. And for that reason, I don't think that they're like, unless we start having conversations about like Joe Burrow or Lamar Jackson, which I will do on my show and you can't stop me. But
I would never.
Like, unless we're doing that stuff.
Before we go to break and go to the last segment here, I wanted to get your opinion on this as a observer from, I would say not afar, but not, as up close as I'm in the weeds and it's hard for me to see the forest for the trees sometimes. What has been your impression of Jordan Love this year, and is there anything that seems different about him this year?
No, I think he's the same guy. My impression of Jordan Love is that it is extremely Kirkish, and I don't mean that in an insulting way. This is what I'm very used to covering. It's I'm a little bit like guy who's only seen Boss Baby being like, this is giving me Boss Baby vibes. But what I see is a statistically very prolific quarterback that puts together, it's very easy to argue him into the top 10. And it's like very easy to say, no, this guy is one of the better guys in the league. We trust him, and this is going to be a good offense. And then 2 or 3 times over the year, you're like, did you sleep last night? Did you practice? What happened? And then you get games like that weird Browns game, that weird Panthers game, and all of that. And I think, the reputation the Packers get for like playing down to their competition. To me, when I hear that, I hear these guys are in their own way as much as anybody else is. They can go toe to toe with anybody, but they got to show up. And then if they don't show up in the right weeks against the bad teams, well, if you don't show up, you can lose to anybody. So you can beat anybody, you can lose to anybody. Right. So for me, Jordan Love, it's always been about consistency. Can he go through a whole season without having, 3 interceptions against the Raiders on Monday night, without blowing it
he's done that
on a crazy
avoided that for the most part. I mean, even in the game, like the Cowboys game,
he's protected the ball. That's huge.
He played great in that Cowboys game. I mean, they score 40 points and you don't win like that.
Oh, you want to hear something fun? If that Cowboys game was a Cowboys win instead of a tie, this would be for the 7th seed. The Vikings would have the common game tiebreaker. Yeah.
Huh.
We're that close.
I did not realize that.
So what is actually going to happen in this game? We'll get into that next on Crossover Thursday. This Crossover Thursday is brought to you by Prize Picks. Whether you're starting a new routine or jumping into player projections for the first time, it can be a very fun challenge to try something new, especially as we get into the playoffs. You're going to sit down. Every game is an island game. It's going to be a lot of fun with Prize Picks. It always feels good to be right. So if you think you know what's going to happen in this game or later on in the playoffs, Prize Pick is the best way to play daily fantasy and make watching sports even more exciting. You can build lineups based on player projections. There's no drafts, no waiting, none of that. Just pick more or less and play your way. You have so much flexibility if you think you've got a beat on how many yards or touchdowns somebody is going to get. But you can also do like crazy stuff like individual field goals made or sacks or fantasy points, all kinds of weird stuff. And the early payouts feature is a total game changer. If you feel like things are going well and you don't want to risk a last second heartbreaker, you can cash out before the game ends. Download the Prize Picks app today and use code LOCKEDONNFL to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code LOCKEDONNFL to get $50 in lineups after your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks, it's good to be right. Moving on here with Crossover Thursday on the Locked On Podcast Network. Hey, thank you so much for making the Locked On Network the #1 sports podcasting network. And if you are an everyday, or if you listen to Locked On Vikings or Locked On Packers every single day, consider joining the Everydayer Club. You can go to lockedonvikings.supercast.com or lockedonpackers.supercast.com, as it were, and you can get that show ad-free, no interruptions, access to a special Discord server, and more. So, Peter, how do you think this game's going to play out? Like, final score, I don't think anybody cares. But what do you think the vibe is going to be? We like to play a game on the post game shows. What are we going to be talking about tomorrow? What are we going to be talking about on Monday?
I think Packer fans will be talking about how they're going to replace Malik Willis. Because it cannot be overstated what he's been able to do and the development that he has shown. We were talking before we came on here about Sean Mannion and his prospects, Vikings legend Sean Mannion. Yeah. And I think he's a future head coach. I really do. And they think the world of him. They were shocked.
It's been the vibe since before he retired. Yeah.
Yep. And there was, they were shocked. Matt LaFleur said on the record, they were shocked. I think it was the Bears brought him in and did not sign him as a coach. And the Packers were like, I can't believe they didn't do that. And he came to Green Bay and they did not let him leave the building. And so I think the Willis piece, I mean, look, you have Packers media, and I think this is, buffoonish, but asking Matt LaFleur, like, do you have to think about the Jordan Love versus Malik? I'm just like, you don't have to do that.
I will be really annoying about it though. And
listen, you are not alone. And a lot of other fan bases are happily trolling the Packers about this. And I'm just sort of like, okay, but
like I want you to know, I know that it's not like that, but it's not going to stop me.
No, well, look, and you are well within your rights. And the reason is, like, it would only be a funny troll if he were playing well. And he is. Like, that's the thing, is he really is playing at a high level. And they don't get to the playoffs. They don't win 11 games last year without Malik Willis. They won 2 games where he started. I know against bad teams, but like our Jeff Jagosinski, our guy on the squad show, our former Packers OC, he has a great phrase, and it's every Sunday you are eligible for an ass kicking. And we saw that on Saturday. Like the Packers got their ass kicked by a team with a backup quarterback. And so you go out there and you have to go play, even if it's Will Levis or Anthony Richardson that you're playing against. And they had great game plans. I mean, I don't know how many coaches in the NFL could get out of Malik Willis what Matt LaFleur has gotten out of Malik Willis, which, this could all be fool's gold, right? Like, he could go somewhere where he's not being coached by a coach like Matt LaFleur or Kevin O'Connell. Coincidentally, he could probably, there's probably at least 3 coaches in this division who could get this play out of Malik Willis. And maybe he'll find a team where that's the case. I hope he goes to a team that actually knows how to use him and gives him a chance, because he's a great guy. He works his butt off, and he's super talented. And I think that's what we're going to be talking about from a Packers standpoint. And I hope it is a conversation about, hey, like, Matthew Golden looks really good. Like, he made some plays in a game against, an actual NFL defense. I think that's going to be the conversation. And from a Viking standpoint, like, I'm sure the aspirational thing that you're going to be talking about is, all right, we feel good about JJ McCarthy moving forward, because if he plays bad against this defense, like, maybe the Packers like show a bunch of stuff and like send zero pressure at him and like do that kind of stuff. I don't know if we'll see that. I don't know how much Jeff Hafley is going to use this as audition tape for that next head coaching job.
Yeah. This can kind of be like, sometimes these coaches want to like put something out there, like they'll call the trick play now, just to get the other team thinking a little bit, going into the playoffs.
Just to show it.
Yeah.
And like, you go back to that 2023 playoff game against the Cowboys, every play seemingly was the play off the play. He was Matt LaFleur was like, Dan Quinn, I know you know all the base concepts. We're going to run the double move off the big over. It's going to be, a post.
This has been the entire Viking season, by the way. It's been a disaster. They tried to make the whole plane out of double moves. It doesn't work.
You can't make the whole plane out of double moves, but it can work in a 1-game situation. And so, like, I think Matt will probably do some of that, where he'll show some things just to show it. But again, like, it's Malik Willis playing quarterback, and he can do things with the run game, for example, that Jordan Love just can't. So, or that you just wouldn't call with Jordan Love, at least not at the volume that you would with Malik Willis. But for the Vikings, like, the whole thing is going to be, can you feel good about JJ McCarthy? And if you're the Packers, like, how much do you care about that? Like, if you're Jeff Hafley, are you going, let's try and not hurt this guy, but let's try and like hurt his confidence. Let's try and bruise the ego a little bit, because the last time these two teams played, he got his ass kicked. And I'm sure 9 is going to want something to say about that. But let's flip the question around. Like, what do you think we're going to be talking about coming out of this game? What are you going to be on the squad show or the postcast talking about with this game?
Well, so, I mean, obviously JJ McCarthy has a huge bit to do with it. If he plays or if he doesn't play, then it's a different conversation. That's going to be the topic for the next 8 months for me.
Yeah.
But with this game specifically, the Brian Flores dynamic is really interesting. So for those who don't know, Brian Flores' contract is up.
Yeah.
It's expiring. And he was answering questions on the podium about it this morning. We're recording this on Tuesday. So it was so he's being asked about that, and he's saying all the right things. I'm just going to let my agent handle that. What will probably happen is that the Vikings will get a contract done with Flores that's free to do, and if he goes and takes a head coaching job, there's offset language in that, and he'll probably make more as a head coach than the DC contract would be. So like, it's pretty easy probably to get that contract done, but then we do the head coaching interview sweat again.
They'd probably make him the highest paid DC in the league if he wanted.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah,
for sure. Yeah.
And I would very much like for him to be like the Titans head coach next year. That would be great for me.
That's an option. Yeah. So like so we'll be doing that sweat all playoffs. But what this game,
do they need to change the system, Luke?
No.
I mean the how you hire coaches.
Oh,
it's not as bad as college, where like Lane Kiffin is leaving in the middle of like, we're going to go to the playoffs, and I don't think I'm LSU coach or whatever.
Yeah, I think it's like, if you're a good coach on a Super Bowl team and then you like miss an opportunity because of that, like I get that there's like an unfairness to that, but I don't think any rules need to change about it. I think people can figure out their own logistics. But for this game with Flores, especially if it's a backup like Malik Willis, or especially Clayton Tune, right? This is kind of a chance for Flores to just like stunt on a young quarterback, and just kind of say, here's what I can do. So I think Flores like empties the clip. Like I think everything comes out in this one, and this is a little bit of an audition for Flores to say, here is everything that this can be. And so if this is like this offensive meltdown and you're leaving the game like, I know it didn't matter, but you're on the post game going like, but I'm still kind of pissed about how that went because Flores just like threw everything and Clayton Tune couldn't handle it or whatever. That's kind of the closing argument.
I can handle that one. Clayton Tune will not be able to handle it.
But even like Malik Willis, like if they find a way to like make Malik Willis look way worse and suddenly his free agency prospects don't look as good, like if that's what we're doing, then we're talking about, oh my God, how do you ever keep Brian Flores in this building?
Yeah.
And that's going to be the big topic of the next like month or so with the Vikings, because we've got all the time in the world to talk about JJ McCarthy, and that's not really going to be, there's nothing can happen until like March about that. So we've got all the time in the world to discuss what they should do there. But with Flores, that's the immediate thing. Is he going to go take one of these head coaching jobs? But one of the openings is the New York Giants. They're not too happy with him. One of them might be Miami. They're not too happy with him.
Yeah.
And like, so I doubt that he's going to those two, but what about the Titans? What about something like Arizona? Like, who knows, right? That's definitely a big topic with the Vikings, but this game could be a pretty strong closing argument for both Flores and McCarthy. I think both those guys have that kind of that at stake here.
Yeah, I mean, look, Packer fans would love for Brian Flores to no longer be a Minnesota Vikings coach. Like there's no two ways around that. It is a nightmare to prepare for him. It's a nightmare to prepare for this Vikings defense. And even when they don't have, a bunch of great players out there, they find a way, and they do have some really good players on that defense. And so, yeah, that would not be surprising to me at all. I don't know that there's anything the Packers can do about that, frankly. Like they can play well, and that would be one way to just like, okay, well, they handled Malik Willis. Like it would be a feather in Malik Willis's cap, right? If Brian Flores threw the kitchen sink at him and he was just like, I'm going to run away from Andrew Van Ginkel and I'm going to throw this ball to, whoever. Like, I think that could be where someone goes, should we just give him like the Justin Fields deal with inflation? Should it be 2 for 44 for him somewhere? Like, I think that's on the table for him. And so that these kind of dovetail nicely, right? Like the Brian Flores versus Malik Willis, they both have a lot to gain, I think, in this game.
Yeah. And that's how it goes with these, even the meaningless games between, teams that are eliminated. You'll have guys who are going to be free agents, coaches that are trying to make a case.
Your resume is the tape, always.
Maybe the Packers could tank this one, though. Just let Brian Flores look really, really cool and then call up the Titans and be like, hey.
I mean, that maybe that's the move. Maybe, hey, just like start Clayton Tune, let Brian Flores' defense just suffocate him, and then let the Titans say, hey, Brian, here's the we'll give you, in fact, we'll give you, we got a bar on Broadway, we'll rename after you, and it'll be great. It'll be great.
There it is. Perfect. The script is written. It leaked right here on the Crossover Thursday. Thank you all so much for listening to Crossover Thursday. Packers fans, you are of course welcome to come hang out on Locked On Vikings. One last thing, Peter. So I like to do bold predictions on Fridays on Locked On Vikings, and I love to give the opposing host the chance to give me a bold prediction. If you're right, I'll donate $20 to a Green Bay area charity of your choice.
I love it. All right. If I'm right, I'll match it. And I'm going to say Savion Williams, anytime touchdown scorer. I think he will score in this game. They'll have something in the red zone for him. Maybe a wildcat, something. Savion Williams scores a touchdown in this game.
Savion Williams scores a touchdown. Let me check the odds on that on FanDuel to make sure it's bold enough. If not, I'll circle back for you, but it probably is.
I bet it. I would guess it's like 10-1.
I usually want to go harder than that, but we'll
okay. That's not the rookie who he does have more touchdowns than Matthew Golden. So,
there you go. Does Matthew Golden have a touchdown yet?
He does not.
Oh, maybe his first one. Okay. We don't have FanDuel props for this one yet at all anyways, because we're way too early in the week. So I'll circle back to you on that. Thank you all so much for listening, and we'll see you all next time.